guys? Welcome to Marvel Madness, the pilot episode, guys, of this new series. We are reviewing Marvel's What If series on Disney+. Super excited, guys. We're back in front of the MCU wall once again. We had the MCU couch, and then we upgraded to the MCU wall. Hopefully we'll get some of my buddies here for episode 2, but we couldn't make it here. It's a solo review. But first off, guys, I just want to say this is video number 300 of Project Potter, guys. So I just want to say, guys, thank you so much to every single person. I think we're over 700 subscribers at the time of this recording. Thank you so much, guys. For anyone who's checked out any content, even if it's been 1 second of one video over the year plus I've been doing this. So thank you, guys. Really, I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Super excited for 300, guys. So there's a lot of stuff that has not been released yet that I've been working on, so we're hitting 300, and that seems like a lot, and it's a proud creator moment for me, but we're only going to go up from here. So yeah, a lot of stuff dropping soon, guys, but to anyone who is just joining, welcome. To anyone who's been here, guys, thank you, and yeah, we're here for a good time. My name is Kyle, guys, your host. Welcome to Project Potter, and we are doing Marvel's What If today. So we are doing episode 1, which is Captain Carter, or what if Peggy became Captain Carter instead of Steve Rogers becoming Captain America. This is going to be similar to sort of the other reviews, guys, that we've been doing, except this is going to be short. The episodes themselves are like 30 minutes, and so this is going to be probably 15-20 minutes max, maybe. I'm going to do we're not going to do any recap, maybe like a really quick recap, but it's the pilot episode, so bear with me if there's some things we got to iron out there. But same thing as my other reviews, guys. Strongest character, weakest character, score out of 10. I don't think we're going to do any sort of rankings because these are supposed to be kind of just like MCU multiverse mini stories. So there's not really, we can't like rank them within the franchise, but we'll probably talk a little bit about like maybe the like overall impact of the MCU or something like that. So we're coming off the high of Loki, guys. This is the first thing. We got Shang-Chi coming out next month. We just had Black Widow recently, which I still have not seen yet, but get my hands on that soon. But yeah, guys, jumping right into it here. Basically, this episode is a recap of the first movie, Captain America: The First Avenger, except there's a big twist here where, number one, I just want to say, took me a little bit to get used to the art style. Anyone who's played like a Telltale game, very, very similar. Right? Like that cell shaded, very aesthetically pleasing. Aesthetically pleasing, not a word. So aesthetically pleasing view there, where it's like that comic book sort of cell shaded vibe. Really, really cool. Honestly, it didn't vibe with me as much as I would have hoped. I love the MCU for its live action stuff, so it's a little jarring to see like familiar characters, and I really love that they got a lot of the voices, but Chris Evans is actually not in What If. The guy who voiced him, I will probably edit in because I didn't look up the name beforehand. He did a very good job. There was a couple lines where it sounded just like Steve Rogers, and I was like, dude, he filled in great, so fantastic job there. For about half the episode, I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. It doesn't really feel like canon. That might be a me problem. I'm also like, I can't get into Star Wars Clone Wars, but I love Star Wars with live action, so maybe it's just an animation thing for me. But basically, guys, it's recapping the first movie, except Steve Rogers is going to get the super serum, and then the Hydra spy that we saw in Captain America: First Avenger, where he like shoots the doctor or whatever and then runs away, and then Steve chases him down. The Hydra doctor like blows up something or whatever, and that injures Steve, so he can't take the serum apparently, so he like gets blown away. And then Peggy's like, oh no, Hydra's infiltrated us. She's like, this is our only chance, and she jumps in the machine, and she's like, yo, load me up with that super serum. And Howard Stark is there, and they're like, Stark, don't do it. And he's like, I'm gonna fucking push as many buttons as I want, dude. And he hits it. Peggy gets the super soldier serum, so there's like a similar scene where she goes in there, we get the light down there, and then she like kind of, they do like the thing. I don't know why they like come out like that, but Peggy's pretty yoked. It's a little different. Steve Rogers obviously was like shirtless in his, because Peggy's a woman, she obviously is not going to be like topless on this, so she's got like a tank on, but she looks big. They did a decent job with the animation, but she becomes basically Captain Carter here. And what surprised me a lot about this episode is that she faces, and I guess it's not surprising given the time period, but she faces so much sexism, like so much. So Peggy has to fight for respect every time, and there's the general that's telling her like, you're not fit to be a soldier, you know, women can't be soldiers, and what are you doing here? You're lucky to be in this room. And Peggy has to really earn that respect, whereas when Steve Rogers got the serum, they were like, this is our fucking hero right here. It's also very jarring to see Steve as staying as that skinny kid from Brooklyn, but I liked it. I thought about the weird like CGI in first Avenger where Chris Evans is like that weird super skinny kid, and they did a good job with the animation here of reminding me of like how unsettling that is, but how he's just like, Steve could never join the army because he's not built, which is why he wanted the super serum, but Peggy ends up getting it. It seemed a little impulsive for Peggy to get it, but I mean, it's whatever. I like it. I like that they were like, this is our only chance. So basically, the episode builds on this thing, guys, where Peggy is Captain Carter. You know, like I said, she's fighting for respect. They go to the bar. Howard Stark is like, yo, here's a box. And it's like, it's your suit. That was going to be your, like, tour suit, but I made some upgrades. And then he's like, oh, and this fucking shield. Boom. And, like, smacks it down there. It's really cool. Maybe we're just coming off of Loki where I'm like, don't affect the sacred timeline. But it's tough for me because I love the original MCU timeline so much that for me, I'm like, this is cool, but man, Steve is my guy. And I really like what they did. Spoilers for Falcon Winter Soldier. Guys, if you haven't seen that, I'll put a little notice here. I really love what they did with Anthony Mackie becoming the new Captain America, where Sam Wilson takes over that throne and what it means to be a black Captain America and all that. And this is different because we've tackled normal Captain America. We've tackled, I say normal, white male Captain America. We've tackled black Captain America, which is a huge thing on its own in Falcon Winter Soldier. And now we've got woman Captain America. But it's not Captain America, it's Captain Carter. And she's got like I think the British flag. Forgive my ignorance if that's incorrect. It's cool. But I'm just like, man, the original Captain America is so good that it's hard to, I don't want to say accept Peggy, but it's just a little bit different. But that's what the show is all about. What if this happened? You know, they're not going to tell the same stories. They're going to take familiar stories that we know and they're going to change it a little bit. So it took a little bit getting used to, and Peggy was a little too lighthearted for me, where she goes to like fight the Nazis and she's like, oh, this is brilliant. And she's like throwing the shield and stuff. And Steve wasn't like that, and I don't want her to be a clone of Steve, so I guess it's different. But I will say, guys, I do love Steve and Peggy's dynamic here, where they both like seems like genuinely are falling in love with each other, which is great because Peggy has always been a fighter, like Steve says, but then Steve is just a skinny kid from Brooklyn, but Steve still got that heart, and so it's really cool because about halfway through this episode, guys, we get Steve showing up on the battlegrounds, and he's wearing like an Iron Man suit basically, but it's like the it's almost like the prototype Iron Man suit, like the first one that Tony builds in Iron Man 1. And this is built by Howard Stark, and it's really cool because we never saw Howard Stark build suits in his time, product of his time, but he figured it out this time. Just said time so many times, but welcome to the show. So Steve is now in basically like the Hulkbuster suit, but like an early prototype of that. And so it's cool because Steve, physically, you're like, oh, he can't really help. He's got the hero thing, but he didn't get the super serum. Peggy did, so like, how is Steve gonna help? Well, he's gonna help because he's gonna be basically like Bruce Banner in Infinity War, where he can't get the Hulk to come out, so he goes in the Hulkbuster. Same thing with Steve, where he's gonna be really helpful on the battlefield because he's got the heart, and now he's got the machinery to kind of go about his business. So that was really cool. It was like a rehash of the first movie. Where these episodes suffer is that they're about 30 minutes long, and so they're recapping basically First Avenger in 30 minutes, so it's like a breakneck pace, which sometimes can be cool, and other times I'm like, you don't have time to kind of expand that, but we already know these stories, so this is Marvel telling you like, hey, you already know Captain America 1, you've seen it, you've probably seen all the MCU movies at this point. This is just a different take on a familiar story. We also get the Watcher, guys, which is like, it looks like Dormammu basically in space, and that was interesting because that's like the narrator, and it's just like, I am the Watcher, I cannot interfere, but like, I'm going to tell you these stories. So reminded me a lot, again, spoilers for the end of Loki here, so I'm going to put up a little warning so you guys have a minute to mute it. I'll take the warning off when it's done. reminds me of He Who Remains at the end, where he's like, yo, I know everything, and he's like, we crossed the threshold when Sylvie obviously fucking kills He Who Remains, and then the multiverse expands, and it jumped right into this, so really good timing on Marvel's part there, but it's just like, forget everything you know, basically. So yeah, I mean, to be honest, guys, these, like I said, these episodes are going to be short, so they go like, just real quick to recap, they go on like the winter train scene where Bucky falls to what we think is his death originally. They go there and Steve breaks in with like the Iron Man suit, and it's like full of like dynamite or whatever, like bombs. So Steve is in there and he gets blown down the mountain. They think Steve is done. And I was like, oh, they're gonna kill Steve Rogers. And even though Steve isn't Captain America, obviously, you still get that connection and you still know that he's such a strong character. They're like, no, I don't want Steve to die. But then you know he's probably gonna come back. So that was a big moment, but then because the episodes are so short, they go and like find him later on. So it's interesting, but they basically go into the Hydra base, and they I forget what his name is. The guy that goes into the computer eventually, the glasses, the little short guy, the one that not Zemo, but like the other guy. I forget, but we see Red Skull in here, and then Red Skull's looking to take over, but he actually like tries to summon. He uses a Tesseract to open up like a portal. And then there's like this huge squid monster that comes out and like presumably kills him, like squishes him. So that was interesting, but like the big bad in this episode was like a squid, which Peggy has to like push back, and she kind of like sacrifices herself to go through the portal, which I thought was kind of weird as a big bad for the pilot episode when you're trying to get people in, but it was alright. And then, yeah, basically they go find Steve. He's still alive. He gets back in the suit. They have like a scene where they charge him. Very little screen time for Bucky, or Bucky felt like a side character in this one, which was kind of weird. But it was all about Peggy, which I get. She was awesome. Her stunts were awesome. The animation was beautiful. But yeah, overall, guys, so just kind of, but it's basically a recap of the first movie, and I'm not going to really go into more of it, but that's kind of our like rambling recap, I guess. Maybe that'll be the new segment, rambling recap. Who knows? But yeah, that's kind of episode 1. So favorite character for this one, guys. I mean, I have to go, I think, Peggy by default, but I don't want to say that I didn't love Peggy. She was really cool. But I didn't like how like lighthearted she was. I liked that it was different from Steve, or from Captain America, I should say. But I was like, I don't know, she just seemed like she was kind of like, oh, this is brilliant, this is fun. And she's like, I'm just doing this here. And there wasn't enough seriousness for me. I know she's got to fight for respect the whole time, and eventually she has the line where she tells the general, like, you're lucky to be in this room, which is what he told her earlier. So that was a nice little line. But yeah, I mean, I guess she's the star of the show, and so I wouldn't be mad if Marvel decides to go in that direction. Maybe it's just the animated space here, but it's cool to see. It's just, again, for me, I'm so in love with original Cap, Steve Rogers, Chris Evans, that it's hard for me to kind of look past that, but this is a different universe. So yeah, I thought Peggy was the best one in this one. For my weakest character, guys, I have to say it's got to be Bucky Barnes. Bucky's a huge character in the MCU, and in this one, he's kind of just a side character. And like, the soldiers are like walking by, and Steve and Peggy are talking, and Steve is like, "That's Bucky, my friend." And I'm like, what? There's like no introduction. There's no scenes where Steve and Bucky are like hugging, or like there's no camaraderie between them. I know that Bucky is usually one that falls off the train in the original and the Sacred Timeline, and then it's Steve that gets hurt in this one. So I like that twist, but I just thought I could have used more from Bucky. I wish they made him stick out a little bit more as more of a prominent side character and not just like another voice. And he didn't have too many lines, and I think Sebastian Stan, Sebastian Stan was in the opening credits, so he's voicing Bucky, but he didn't really stick out to me. And we're coming off Falcon and Winter Soldier, where he played a big role, and so I would have liked for them to consider that more, but all in all, I think he was my least favorite character for this one. Okay, guys, for a score for this one, I'm going to give this an 8.1. I wasn't as crazy about this pilot as I was hoping I'd be, and maybe it just takes time, or maybe I'm just so in love with the original Cap story, but I like the twist. I like that Steve goes down instead of Bucky on the train. But then because of the breakneck pace, like I said, with the episodes being 30 minutes, they're like, oh no, Steve, and then like 2 minutes later they find him, and I'm like, there's no, like, where a movie you have like 2.5 hours where like Bucky falls off the train and you're like, oh shit. I don't even know if they find him in the original first Avenger. I had to go back and watch, but like finding Steve 2 minutes later makes it feel like there are no consequences. So this series overall feels like it's a little inconsequential. But the animation was beautiful. The Peggy stuff was cool. I wish they would have toned down the sexism a little bit. They gave Peggy a little bit too hard of a time, where I was like, I understand the times, but they like kept bringing up where they're like, whatever, you like, there's like Steve gets hurt and then Peggy's in the war room or whatever, and the general's like, oh, you should have never been on the battlefield, after Peggy had already proved herself and kicked the asses of a bunch of Hydra dudes. And I'm like, well, so what? She was doing fine before, and then now she wasn't. They didn't really have that Peggy scene either, where like Captain America, where he like takes over and he's like, that's a bond for your best man or whatever. And there's this montage where like he wins over America essentially. They tried with that with Peggy, but she like punched a couple guys, but then it didn't really show like approval ratings or anything, or like no one cheering. So I didn't really feel like she was as accepted, and maybe that's just because she's a woman in that role, and so they're gonna have different difficulties or different obstacles. But I don't know. It was all right, but this episode I wasn't crazy about. Again, we're coming off of Loki, where there's like crazy ramifications, and maybe it's just like I have to get used to the animated version. But I thought overall I respected the choices that they make. I'm interested to see where the series goes, but I would say 8.1 is a fair score for this one. Okay, guys, that's it for Marvel Madness Episode 1. So yeah, like I said, we're going to do kind of a rambling recap, guys. This is a pilot, so I might change things for Episode 2, but we'll probably stick to relatively the same format. Rambling recap, a favorite character, a least favorite character, a score out of 10. Pretty much the basic format for my reviews. I try not to copy and paste the format because I want it to be different and exciting, but yeah, I appreciate you guys stopping by once again, guys. Number 300, let's go. Appreciate you guys stopping by. I think I just said that, but guys, when you do 300 of these videos, it just keeps going and going. You start losing your brain, you just start saying things and you don't even know what they mean, but that's what happens when you just make content all the time. But seriously, guys, really appreciate you guys. Check out the channel, like, comment, subscribe. Go check out the other MCU content, guys. Go check out the other content on the channel in general. We got Halo going right now. We got Mass Effect. We got all the MCU. We reviewed all of these movies, dude. Every single one of these movies are reviewed on the channel. Go check out Reviewers Assemble. Some of the earlier videos are a little rough because that was some of the earliest videos we have. We got Mr. Robot content. We got everything on there, guys. So go check it out. I appreciate you guys. And until next week, guys, stay marvelous.